All right, I have BJ Garceau back on the show now, who picked up a big win most recently at NEF 45, a round one guillotine choke over Haley Martin. BJ, how are you?
I'm doing awesome, Ryan. How are you today?
I'm good. And as I was telling you, we see each other every once in a while at the gym and whatnot. But that fight over Haley, it couldn't have gone much better. I mean, I know that the NEF has had some fighters that have finished fights in like 5-6 seconds. Yours was like 26 or 27, right? So you're
Yeah.
right in that ballpark of, most impressive finishes that the promotion has seen. What was the game plan heading into that one, and how pleased are you?
Well, the game plan is we kind of knew Haley was looking for an opponent, and Haley and I knew each other prior because I've done work with Thunder Pig Boxing, which is they work with Titan and they've worked with Youngs before. So I've gone over there and worked with her. And then Chris came to me, Christopher Young, coach and owner of Youngs. He's like, Haley accepted the fight. What do you want to do? And I was like, let's do it. Because I actually had intended on not fighting again. I thought, and then COVID just lit a fire in me that I was ready for anybody who might come my way. And what we did is we pretty much stuck to the game plan. Like the fight showed things we were working on. Coach kind of wanted to incorporate with the attack, let us wait for her to make the move. And when she was ready to make the move, let it happen. So I actually listened to Coach, Coach's plan all along, and it worked out great. He's a brilliant guy.
Did you work more on your jujitsu and your submission skills in this camp?
Yes.
Was that a focus?
Yes, because as a lot of people know, our team, or our family, I should say, has shrunk at Youngs MMA. So we've been working very closely with Jimmy, who's incredible at jujitsu, and Glory Watson, who's a mastermind out there on the mats, as we all know. So with that being said, we incorporated that because I've always been a fan of striking. That's kind of where I got my first start at things. So Coach decided to mix it up a little bit. We had a feeling of what she might do, or how she might react it if I went a certain way. And so we did a lot of guillotine practices. And it's one of my favorite moves too, because with my height and my ability to just drop on people, that it's one of my favorite submissions. So Coach really played that into our training.
Did you feel like, with the history that you had, and you knew Haley a little bit, and she was making her debut?
Awesome.
Yeah. So did you feel like, this was just kind of a matchup that was tailor made for you? You felt like, you were going to go in there and do your thing early?
I had spoken to some people who knew us mutually, and there were some, I'm trying to think of the best way to express this. There was some bets, if you will. Some people had some thoughts as to how the fight was going to go and time lengths and things like that. I guess that I'm very happy with the outcome that it came, because it actually happened quicker than I thought. I don't know how to say that. And do I feel like the matchup was made for me? I feel like it was a good matchup for Haley to get her foot in the door, if that makes sense. I'm really excited. It opened my eyes and it gave me that hunger again, seeing the crowd, the fans, seeing you and Matt and everybody. Like, I just love you guys. So being around that positive energy, like with Devin and all those guys, it's fueled a fire. So what I would like to see happen is maybe get another fight. Maybe this one was, I consider this kind of like a warm up to the future, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's great
Yeah,
to
like
hear.
I feel like
So
this is a great fight to take on, and it just kind of helped me respark my love for MMA, because I never planned on taking this like another fight. I thought, like, with COVID and my last fight being canceled, I was like, but then after this, I considered it a perfect fight for me to come back.
so you're 2-1 now. How many more fights do you think you'd want to do? Do you feel like maybe you would ever turn pro, or just maybe make a
No.
run at an amateur title by chance?
This is a love for me. This sport is a love for me. I do full-time work outside of here, a lot of volunteer work. So I don't foresee me ever going pro. I'm an AMI, JV, no, but an amateur all the way, and I love it. Like I said, will there be fights in the future? Hey, February is around the corner. So maybe we'll see if we can stack something up for that major card. That card's unreal.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to dive more into that and a potential opponent for you here in a little bit, but I do want to talk about a couple other things first. I just wanted to ask you too, you're very public, and you talk a lot about, your type 1 diabetic, everything that you go through. How is that all right now? How are you dealing with that? And how is that affecting you as far as training goes?
Well, this is actually the first time. Each one of my fights, I've done a different kind of insulin therapy. This is the first time I've ever gone through camp doing manual insulin injections. I have changed careers. I am currently full-time in the cannabis industry, and starting our own shop up from the ground, Vibes Cannabis. And so I've left healthcare, which means I lost my health insurance. So as a lot of people know from me, I typically donate to juvenile diabetes and stuff, where the thing that was different about this fight is I use the money for my own diabetic care. So it was a little bit more personal for me. Like now that I've switched insurances, I'm on my wife's insurance, our finances are a little bit different, that I'm starting to see the struggle more personally as I did with the diabetics I was helping when I was working full-time in healthcare. So for me, this was a more personal diabetic fight, if that makes sense. I had a different approach to it. I felt great. My weight cut was easy. I've switched my diet too since my last fight to plant-based. So I've cut out meat and dairy and things like that. So I'm feeling good. But I'm also feeling more intact, or more relationship to those who have struggled, because I'm feeling their struggle more now. So with the expenses. So
you were at the hospital for a really, really long time. What forced you to leave there? And is it something, are you happier now than you were before?
I am the happiest I've been in about, I would say 18. Well, I worked in healthcare for 18 years and I have a degree in mental health and human services. Then I went to surgical care, and me and Eastern Maine parted ways after a conflicted COVID test. And what had happened was I had been sick with some diabetes complications, and I had called out of work. And then I felt fine after a couple of days, asked to get a COVID test. They tried to charge me $100. I didn't have that financial availability at the time because I had just bought insulin. Went to work. Then my wife tested positive. I tried to get a second test in the Weber building. The HR told me to go there. There was no testing there. So I got frustrated at my second attempt. And then I ended up getting my test. And due to the results of that, which were positive, I got let go at the hospital. So it was not a planned breakup, if you will. So I've been trying to deal with that. A lot of stress in that area. Makes me just a little bit in shock, but however, I was unhappy at that job. So that's one thing. I took my anger out too in this last training camp. So good thing for martial arts is it can help people work through their problems. So I am happy to kind of give you a long answer. It's just been a whirlwind of emotion on top of that. Like, I guess I didn't realize that when things go bad, the light is actually at the end of the tunnel. So I'm very happy.
Well, that's all that matters.
Yeah. So it was a whirlwind of events. So going from healthcare for so long just means that hopefully I can just focus into other things I believe in. So
let's talk about something else that you believe in, and that's your new career now, the cannabis industry. And Vibes Cannabis. Where are you guys located, and what all do you offer to the cannabis users that are out there?
Well, actually, it's medical. So we're a medical store. We are located right by the Bangor Mall. And mainly supplements, we sponsor Glory Watson, a couple of UMaine athletes. They sponsor me during my fighting career. And also there's a great smoothie shop that just released a signature smoothie for me called Little Gem. So that's pretty cool. We're right over there. And I love it because the thing about cannabis that people don't understand is how much it helps you medically. Like a lot of people, I know people have this assumption that it's just for getting I hate to say the word, but stoned or whatnot, but for me, it helps me get out of bed every day. Like I take tinctures, I make a lot of edibles and things like that. So it's just a medication that I believe in when used appropriately. So this allows me to also go for small business instead of working for big business and interact with people more, which is something I like to do and share my own personal experiences about it. So I believe in this company and I'm really excited to get it off the ground.
So how does cannabis use, how does it help you recover from training? Because I've heard a lot of people, they swear by it, So dive into a little bit more about that and the benefits of that. If you're like, an athlete and you're out there and you're trying to perform, and the benefits that you get from recovery.
For recovery for me with cannabis, it's one of those things like I know that I'm typically sore or I'll literally beat myself up emotionally after something. I'll be like, oh man, I did really bad in practice, or I'll just be at a point of an exhaustion where I don't even want to move or eat. That cannabis helps increase my appetite. It helps with the muscle soreness. So like, as you've done pads, you've been active in martial arts, that you have those stiff shoulders or you can't sleep because you twisted your ankle. And so things like that is it helps with sleep. It helps slow your mind down with negative thoughts, just brings an overall happy feeling. Like put it this way, if I'm having a rough day, I like to go home and medicate a little bit, and then I can just kind of slow my mind down and be like, okay, things are going to be okay. I can be more in the moment with it. So yeah, so it helps me with my sleep, and it also helps me with appetite and stuff like that. And I just feel better, because sometimes I eat a little, what they call microdosing, like before I do jujitsu and things like that. And I just find that my anxiety and my body movement to be much more fluid. Just go with it more. I don't get as anxious.
Makes sense. Now, for anybody that's out there that's watching that wants to know a little bit more about where Youngs MMA is at right now, and the future of the gym, can you just explain, what is coming here in 2022 and just what's going on right now with the gym in Orrington?
Oh, well, what can I say? But I actually met with Coach this morning, Coach Chris. We did pad work, and we had kind of like a little heart to heart. Me and Chris have to kind of catch up every once in a while. And we were talking about that actually. We are currently running kids classes and small classes over at Young's in Orrington. We haven't been officially opened yet. So it's kind of for like the old members and things like that. But we are looking hopefully for a grand opening in 2022. I'm sure it's not too far out there, because the inside's almost done. We have it all heated. The mats are down. So we just have big plans to get it out there. And I think what we're going to do after that is just welcome any new faces who have a lot love for martial arts and good spirits, and let them come work out with us, because Young's is a family. We always have been. And we're going to be excited to building that, because I know there's been a lot of changes. I've been there for about 6 or 7 years, which is that's hard to believe. But yeah, we're looking to just make a bigger family, get people in, teach people. We want to bring back the old Young's MMA feel.
I love it. Now,
yeah.
Glory Watson, she was supposed to have a fight next weekend, and unfortunately that's not happening now. The whole card is canceled. So it seems like, yeah, it's wild. It's actually that
when I was leaving this morning, I couldn't believe that. I was like, their commission. Wow, New York.
Pretty unfortunate. But maybe what this will do is allow both Glory and yourself to be fighting on the NEF 46 card in February, so you guys can get a lot of good work in together. Does that excite you? Do you feel like that's exactly what is going to happen?
I think I would say so. I hope so. I can say that. But however, we were also expecting a fight next weekend. And as anyone knows, in the MMA world, anything can change. So my goal for right now, because I love Glory, I've known Glory for years, since she was about 13, since she was in school. So to see how far she's come and how hard she's worked, I'm so heartbroken about this fight being canceled on her. That girl has been putting her all in. So I think for this round, her and I are going to work very closely together, and I'm going to learn a lot from her, and she's going to learn a lot from me. We're both two different fighters. If anyone's met us, knows she's the yin to my yang. So yes, we're going to be getting that work in, and I would love to see her get a fight, especially Maine. The state of Maine would love to see a Glory Watson fight.
Any potential opponents for you? Is there anyone that comes to mind that you feel like would make sense?
Honestly, I know Chris has a couple people in his mind. I'm one of those people where you could tell me a name and I'd be like, okay, but I'd forget it like in a minute, because I'm just there to do the job, if that makes sense. Like Chris could tell me they're a black belt or they're a first-time fighter, and if he thinks it's appropriate for me, yeah. But I know he has a couple people he's thinking of. He's always got something working up in that beautiful brain of his.
I thought there was someone in Southern Maine that called you out that wanted to fight. Is that accurate?
I heard that rumor. Yeah, Jason Bailey told me about that. I heard that. I didn't catch the young lady's name, but I guess I heard that. So I suppose if they're call-outs, we got to recognize them.
Okay. Well, another name that came to mind is someone that recently interviewed you. It's Chelsea Tucker. It's the only loss of your career. She talked to you after your recent win at NEF 45. She was doing interviews for New England MMA, and so
she did great. Did you see those?
Yeah,
she did awesome. Chelsea's a fucking superhero.
So would that rematch ever happen, or are you just kind of over it at this point?
I don't know, because honestly, I don't know. I think 115 is my weight. I think I've had a 115 fight, a 120 fight, and a 125 fight. Maybe I don't know. I haven't thought about fighting Chelsea Tucker again, because I just feel that our friendship. And plus, yeah, she did great the last time, but that thought actually hasn't crossed my mind. That's a thought to think about.
Wow. Because I would imagine,
I've
I
never
don't know,
thought about that.
just me personally, like if I were to suffer a loss, like it would probably grind at me and be like, you know what? I'd like a rematch. I'd like another crack at it to right that wrong. That never crossed your mind. You're being honest.
I am being honest because I'll have to say this, that fight to me was one of the hardest lessons I've ever had to learn. Mentally, I wasn't there. Physically, I was just kind of going through the motions and things like that. I have so much respect for Chelsea after that fight that I think I'm happy with leaving it the way it was. I think Chelsea deserved that win. I think Chelsea's skills showed off so good that I'm not remorseful or regret. Like I just consider, when I look back at that fight, I'm like, wow, that was a lesson on what not to do. Because if that makes sense to you, like there's, so I've never looked at it back as like, oh man, I want to go after Chelsea or anything like that. No, I guess I've just had a peace with it that we deserve. I think that fight deserves to be the way it was. And I think Chelsea deserves to have that glory.
Okay, good enough. Well, speaking of glory, let me ask you one more thing about Glory Watson here before we dial it down. When you look at her trajectory, you talked about how far she's come as a mixed martial artist, and you've known her for years. What's her ceiling at, BJ? Like how good can Glory be? Because I mean, she's been like the #1 female pound for pound fighter like in New England, and there's been a lot of expectations for her. You know, what's her ceiling?
I think Glory's only ceiling is Glory Watson. Like I think the sky is the limit for Glory Watson, and I just wish at times she knew how much we all believed in her. Like I think the hardest critic on Glory is Glory. She has incredible coaching. She cross trains everywhere. I really think the sky is the limit for her. She has the heart, and plus, who doesn't like? The thing I like about Glory is, like, her last fight is one of my favorite fights ever. That 10 seconds to go, that rear naked choke after a fucking slug fest, and then she smiled the whole time. Like that's the Glory. We need more fighters like Glory, who she's in it for the heart of it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think honestly, Glory could go anywhere as long as Glory knows Glory can go anywhere, if that makes sense.
It does.
If Glory knew, Glory, we love you, honey. Listen to us. The sky is the limit for you.
I love
the
answers, BJ.
To know. So I think I honestly do. I think she could go anywhere. And I'm really bummed out about that fight being canceled because I think she would have shown more skills. New York would have been lucky to have her.
Yeah, definitely a major disappointment. Well, BJ, it's always a pleasure to talk to you again. Congratulations on your second amateur win here at NEF 45. Hopefully, we're going to see you at NEF 46 in February. I'll keep my fingers crossed that is the case.
Well, you'll see me there, whether I'm fighting or not. Maybe, I mean, we'll see each other either way.
Definitely. Before I let you go, I do want to give you the floor. Tell people where to follow you on social media. And if you have any sponsors or anyone to thank, the floor is yours.
Awesome. Hey, first of all, I just want to thank my fans. Thank everybody who's been supportive of me, Youngs MMA, my teammates, Brian, all these years. I never thought this dream would come true. I didn't even know it was a dream until I had all of you in my life. So if you would like to follow me on social media, please do. I'm at Rebel Girl T1D MMA on Instagram. I'm also BJ Garceau on Facebook, and you can find me on there. So feel free. And also, I'd like to thank Vibes, mainly supplements, also American Relief, and Little Gem for their smoothies that keep me going. So thank you.